What's happening, everybody? This is K2 of the United Souls crew. We're here on episode 5 Rewind, In It to Survive. Man, we are getting in there right now. As you can see with this episode, we're kind of starting to work our way away from Lake Arrowhead. We're making our way further into the mountains. Now we're really starting to pack our bags and go on some adventures, trying to get out into some trails and heading out to the Pacific Crest Trail. Actually, on this episode, the Pacific Crest Trail is kind of like the Appalachian Trail if you're on the East Coast, but the West Coast has the Pacific Crest Trail that has hot springs all along the way, which we did get to stop at Deep Creek Hot Springs on the way. That was one of our stops, and again, they're kind of all up the coastline. And there's also the Continental Divide Trail that's in the middle of the United States. So we kind of crossed over a few of these epic walking trails as we kind of did the West Coast to East Coast travel. But we're going to do the deep dive today. You can see I'm here in the control area that usually Rocco's sitting in, but we do got a special treat. We got another United Souls here to join us. We got Kampaign joining from the West Coast. What's up, Kampaign? How you doing, man?
What's good, my brother K2, man? I'm good, man. Man,
Good to see
what's
you,
up?
man. Oh, nothing, man. Nothing. So we're testing out some technology here. We got a bunch of things going, a bunch of things recording. So we're going to try to splice this little puzzle together. And I think as we go further each time, we're going to try some little tricks and things to kind of make it look a little better each time. You know, this is what this is all about as we're
Exactly.
revisiting this walk and revisiting the technology and what we have at our disposal. We're getting in the groove of things because, Cam and myself and a bunch of our other friends, we're all getting into this content creation wave, and we're all trying to get back in gear with how it all works and piece it all together. So this is a perfect way to, dive in and experiment and see, fine tune what we got working for us.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, going into the content that we've had for years is just like this is crazy because I'm hearing myself. Anyway, now going back into this content that we've had for years is like a perfect opportunity for us to really digest it all and really get good understanding and and create more of it. You know what I mean? Because it was a ridiculous trip that we still all think about, I'm sure, all the time. And when we try to explain it to someone, it's like it's so much to try to explain. And now that we've got this, this footage put together in such a way, it's just like we can just say, you got to, oh, that's just like episode 5. You got to check that out, and they can see exactly, and we can explain and give them better perspective.
Yeah, I think that's supposed to be great, man. Now it'll be locked down, so even if people check us out like at the end of the year when we're finally getting to the end of it, I think it's going to be one of those binge worthy things that people will go right back to the beginning and eventually be able to make it through the whole set, and see what's going on. So, what kind of thoughts have been going through your head, man? Starting back from the beginning, seeing these episodes, has there been anything that stuck out?
Definitely, man. I looked at the first episode, and then I went to Venice Beach a couple weeks ago. Seeing the things that are different from 15 years ago, on these clips has really been a cool thing. Like being able to see what it looked like, and then actually go to Venice Beach now and see how drastically different some of these things are. It's going to be like that for a lot of spots all over, the walk, because I know we're not there. We're not even near close to getting there, but Four Corners um, is drastically different than what we experienced, like the footage that we have. So it's going to be interesting once we get to that point as well.
Yeah, it's definitely amazing all the things that have changed and progressed. But it's also interesting. I think this last year I've heard so many people talking about what we were talking about on the walk 15 years ago. I hear so many people in podcasts or doing content creation being like moving out of the big cities and going to places, and their whole thing is like, oh, we don't need to be in a Hollywood, we don't need to be in this, we can do wherever we want, we have all the equipment at our fingertips. And that was that was a huge message of what we were putting out 15 years ago, maybe a little teensy bit early, ahead of the curve, but now I think everybody's finally getting into this mentality of what we were sharing, like, hey, we can make our music wherever we want. We got our computers, we got everything dialed in. As again, like we said at the beginning, now we're again trying to dial in all the technology of what we have today, which is definitely a lot more than we had back then. But that was our similar mission back then, just
It
kind of
is a
dialing it
timing
all in.
thing for us. We were at a certain age at that time. We're coming of age, and we had this idea to do this walk and use the technology that we had at the time. And at the technology that we had at the time, it was enough to make us feel like, we can do this. We can make music in the desert, you know, and come up with a song and put it out because there's a way to put it out. And so, and there used to, and before that, there was no way to do that. And through time, like I say, for us at that time, we, after we finished, we started growing more. Now we've got families, and, so like being able to focus, with that same energy, with the technology that we've had, as time has gone on, the focus wasn't always there. So to put all the pieces together to make something, happen as we watched all of this stuff happen, right before our eyes, like all these new content creators and YouTube people basically doing the thing that we did, you know? And at the time we did it, it didn't have as much weight and merit. So, it's like I said, the timing of it all, it's just like, oh, we didn't give it or at least me, I didn't give it the go that it should have been. Like, okay, once we're finished with the walk, let's keep this YouTube channel going because there's a future in YouTube. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man, because that was definitely the first. Almost like I don't know. We had to look back, but I think like 2006 when we did that walk, that was like kind of birth of YouTube when people were just starting to upload videos, and it was still pretty. We were putting videos up there, just kind of raw stuff on the cut, but it was still there was no real web or network for those videos to get out there to people, and there was no algorithms like there are now to just like hit people and make stuff go viral. We were like right before the whole viral craze, and like when we were getting done, pretty much that's when videos kind of started going viral, and we had already filled YouTube with 100 hours worth of content just under the radar basically. So it's going to be super interesting what we can do this whole next year with consistency and putting out content and this kind of stuff, and our old footage to see how it how we can, manipulate the algorithms or get in there somehow and see how if we can crack the code this time around.
Yeah, it's like we put down the full-on groundwork to what it is that you're supposed to do right now. We're trying to make a network, the Illumination.tv. We had everything lined up, and there was a few people that were looking at broadcasting and creating their networks, with the web, and we met a few of those people. We were trying to connect with all those people. Yeah. That the Conscious Media Network, and what was the other
Mania TV in Denver.
Mania
that was another
TV.
big like live stream like pioneer that had like a lot of stuff going on with their own shows and programming, and they were really trying to. But again, I think that they had the same kind of longevity in the beginning because it just wasn't ready to spread out virally at that point. It seemed like I don't know. And they had the full on production house, and they had all kinds of shows and newscasters and things. But it's a lot to hold together. Like it is now, where everybody's got their own show and channel and 10,000 viewers, million viewers for a little girl playing with slime to someone open boxes or collecting fingernails or whatever it is. Man, there's like people. So
niches, man, and the niche. The walker niche, like this is what this is at this point. And it's a beautiful thing because, the idea of what we were doing is a niche as well. It's a niche market right now. You know what I mean? If you're in the TikToks and Instagram or any of the social medias, all of this stuff, all these connection tools, weren't around. We had MySpace, and Facebook was bubbling.
Yeah, I think it was. I think it was MySpace the whole way across for sure.
Yeah.
And I think when we were getting towards the end, like Facebook was like just kind of starting to surface, and people were like starting to float over there, and it kind of seemed like, well, MySpace is so great. Why would you
Yeah.
why would you go out of this? Everything, all of our friends are here. You got your top tier of people, and we have all of our posts and had all our
Yeah.
things
So
and
important.
yeah. So I don't know. Yeah, I wonder. I guess we still have our even a United Souls page on MySpace. I don't know.
I
I
think
haven't checked
so.
that.
I looked at it. I mean, I'm not sure now. Maybe a couple years ago, I was surprised to see that. Yeah, all my stuff is still on
I think
MySpace.
I still have a MySpace page up there. I
Yeah.
think it's something.
Yeah, so these tools are amazing, and I feel it almost makes you feel like, especially since we've done it, that it's like any one of us individually, if we decided, you know what, I'm gonna just walk right now, like we would have enough mental ability to be able to do it. But then with one cell phone, we'd be able to connect, make videos, like put a whole network together with a cell phone.
Yeah. Let alone be able to, like, on parts of the walk, we'd be able to zoom up and do a little drop down on Google Earth and see if there were a possible junkyard full of wild dogs somewhere, or be able to navigate a little bit further to see what we were actually getting into and not be so absolutely blind to where we're walking. Because, that was a big part of, I think, the mental game that we were dealing with on a lot of these early walks is like, when you're in the middle of it, not knowing that you're only a mile away or 2 miles away for your goal, or even a half hour from where you got to finish, it just that feeling of like this is taking forever, and I don't know, if we're ever going to make it, and that just starts to eat away at the mental then starts to just deteriorate the physical self and get you weaker and weaker the rougher you think it is, and yeah, like I think that was a huge part of some of the stuff we learned earlier on in the little journey.
Yeah, as we've been recapping all of this and relooking at all of this stuff, it's brought up a lot of things that, it's easy to forget stuff uh, if you don't do it all the time, and just methods of thinking, like how we're thinking about doing things, like how strong we are, when it comes to certain things, like
Yeah, I would like to know, like, because we didn't even really talk about it after when that happened and stuff like that,
right.
of how like I said, when I look back and I look back at the Google Earth, I was like, I don't know, man. I still think I would probably go. I would probably try to make that cut. I mean,
Yeah.
and again, it's like one of those things where it seems like forever when you're in it, but I think it would be a lot easier if we did that, that cut now, because okay, it's going to be rough in these couple parts, but it is doable. Or I don't know. Or what would you think? Would you rather at this point? Would you say, hey, no, this time we're doing the 18 and we're gonna weave around the road and go up the side? I'm not doing that again.
Nah, I mean, it was a hike. It was a hike. It would have been a better way to go about it, like a smarter route. But we were forced into that route, and then in hindsight, it's like, oh, it's not that bad. You know what I mean? And I've hiked up mountains, and stuff like that, uh, on trails, a few times doing those ups and downs on mountains. So I knew it was going to be something like that, but never did that. Like there was no trail. We were like going through burnt, uh, broken branches and cutting our legs and shit was bad, man. Like it was crazy. And after, yeah, seeing it go up and down a couple times, it was pretty discouraging. It was like, yo, come on, I can't keep doing this. And then getting to the end where it was like, there's no way. How do we? You can't. You gotta climb. You gotta like really rock climb. Not thinking about that part. Like, oh right, we're gonna get to a point where it's like, this is a dead end. You're either gonna go back all the way, or that's it. You're done.
Yeah,
And not realizing that like we jumped into a lot of stuff like that, not thinking about like, hey, we could hit a dead end here. You know what I mean? Feel really bad. Like, so it was interesting though, man. Like we pulled through. I think about the strength that we all like the fact that we were all together like that made it feel safe. Like we knew we had each other's back or somebody was there if something happened.
yeah,
We didn't feel alone. I didn't. I never felt alone.
yeah,
So that was always good. That pulled us through. That was crazy though. That was really crazy. And that's what I was gonna say is like as I'm looking at all these clips, Like I was so ambitious about doing all this stuff. The fact that I was recording all of that stuff, like I kept recording. And I remember thinking, like, why am I recording all this? But now I'm like, I'm so glad I was doing that. Like, what? I was just like, oh, yeah, let me record this. Let me record this. Let me record it. And it's just like, thank you, Cam. Thanks for doing that.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
we got some good shots on a lot of that stuff. Yeah, it's funny.
All right, cool. So, hey, so go from that spot where we, the first mountain, like, going up, getting chased from the dogs or whatever. That's like way back there, right?
Yep, right here. You see it?
Oh, okay. Got you. Yeah.
Again, there's the dogs. There's a little compound.
Yeah. Okay.
And you can kind of see then, like, where we basically ran up the side up here.
Yeah, right there. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah. Looking at it like this, man, this is the amazing thing, man. Like it just having this bird's eye view. Imagine being able to see it like this while we're standing right there. You know what I mean? Like
bringing it up on a phone or a little iPad or something. Yeah, that would have totally been possible.
Yeah. And so now looking at it though, so where it says making our way up to the rim there, yeah. I remember that spot. And I think we have footage of that spot, but I remember us getting there and being like, oh, wow. Well, I guess that's why I remember it so clearly, because we have that footage, but just walking up and saying like, okay, how are we going to get up there? And we went straight up. But after this day, this was a big day. I kind of don't remember. I know we went to, what was the guy's name? Ed,
yeah, we went to Ed's house.
Yeah, we went to Ed's house after this. But did we came back to this spot and walk from here?
Yeah.
And that's what we were seeing the day before we get to see that little zigzag there, man.
Yeah, we didn't get the zigzag. That must have been coming in from another way, or maybe that's there since we've been there and stuff.
Yeah, man. So yeah, we definitely came there. Yeah, okay. Gosh, man. That's so vivid in my head right now. It's so crazy.
Yeah. But yeah, so as you can see kind of right here, we basically kind of came straight up the mountainside, started walking into the mountain, and then kind of took like a horseshoe ring right here to get back to where we made it out of Crab Flats. We could have just kind of gone straight across.
That's always the funny. Yeah, that's always the funny thing when people ask, like, well, why didn't you guys just go straight across? It was like, well, we wanted to see some cool stuff, so we took the scenic route, This is the beautiful thing right here. Kevin, you found all of these dope spots. I had no idea about a lot of these places. And then, the route you picked was really awesome, man. It was dope.
Yeah, man, it was a lot of then we found a lot of cool stuff as we were going, like this spot, the Pinnacles that you were talking about, where we camped out for the night.
Yeah.
This is one of our spots when we were walking to get to the out to the Pacific Crest Trail coming down this way. We took a little side hike to get up to this mountain spot, that was all kind of rocks, cliffs and stuff like that. Had an awesome little camp out. It was under the full moon. It was like our first this is like basically a month into the adventure, basically. And it was like full moon up on the mountains. Like you could pretty much see everything. That was like you were saying, crazy energizing and huge memory moment of like some really cool camping that we got to do while we were on the adventure.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So then from there, so that's where we split right there. Like you guys went, in the van, and we started walking down to get to the Pacific Crest Trail. Yeah. And I remember being off the road, and then we cut into the road. And this is where the mantra began right here, where Derek, he started the mantra, leave no man behind. It started here. It started on this trail right here.
Yeah, and this trail pretty much just goes all along the side of this little kind of gorge almost, and just wraps all along for just miles and miles. Because again, here's Deep Creek.
Yeah,
we had some footage of that where you guys were basically probably right around here where you're shooting down, and kind of like you were videoing down this way. I think you're probably
Actually, wait, zoom in a little bit there. Well, because go a little to the left, I guess. Okay, wait, let me see there.
So I think you kind of came around this way, and on the trail
there's a larger like body of water though, like where we really were, and there's the actual hot springs over there. I think it was there. Yeah, it was over here in this area there where you are. We were sort of camped by these trees there because those rocks right there is the actual hot spring right in there, and we
Yeah.
were camped right next to it, to the right where you're right around there. We were camped right there where they were crossing the river. There is right there. Wow, this is what it must look like now, and it's dried up.
Yeah, it could be. That's true. Yeah, it could be. It's all
Dried up. It was a lot more water. It was, I mean, from that video we can see, but that's right where we were, because that's those rocks, and it literally it looked like it's man-made, this hot springs, because it's like a jacuzzi, like inside the rocks. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
there was a couple of them, weren't there? Like, he said, I wasn't
Yeah.
with them this time, but I've been there a few times. And there was like at least 3 different pools, and they kind of cascaded down,
Yeah.
in the little rock croppings and stuff like that.
Yeah, I was like, is it? Yeah, I said, it just looks so perfectly made. But so then the next day after coming out of there, though, I'm trying to see where. Okay, so
See, that just kind of keeps it just this trail right here.
Yeah. Did we go that way? I feel like we went from where we are here. We went, kind of up. Oh, I see. Okay.
Because it basically, the Pacific Crest Trail just wraps, keeps going along, like just keeps going around these mountains.
Yeah.
All along.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah. Okay. So wow, that's a trip. That's a trip. Yeah. Seeing it from this view like this, that's it. Yeah. That's that trail. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Seeing it from this view is just changes the whole perspective. I felt like, and we are going in the direction, but I felt like we, took a left turn at Albuquerque or something like that on the, over there. And but it is going in this direction. And now that I see it like this, it makes perfect sense. So yeah, we did all of this.
Does that feel right? Where you would have been like basically walking to where on your left hand side there would have been kind of a cliff off, and your right hand side would have been like the mountain, basically.
That is completely it right here. This trail. And because especially like, wait, go back a little bit, like zoom down into that little pocket right there where the marker is down there, to the right, just all of that stuff. But that pocket right there, like when you're going all the way deep in and then you come all the way back out, up a little bit on the trail there. Yeah, like, I just remember seeing the trail, standing here and seeing the trail go way over there, but knowing that I'm making a right, but the trail is way to the left over there, and it's like, well, how am I going to end up over there? I'm making a right here, like, it's crazy. And it's just, yeah, it just kept doing that over and over again. After a while, you get used to it. But this is where I'm starting to sing, the songs, and I'm just trying to keep, because it's such a long trail, man.
Yeah,
and we're just going and going, not really knowing where we're going to end up. And the fact that, look, we didn't know that this was supposed to be, to get to where we were going to go. What's the name of it? Deep Creek? Or no, Crab Flats. To get to Crab Flats was not going to be a 1-day hike from there. It just wasn't, even if it didn't rain, really. Yeah, no, this was, still, it was the first time I had ever heard of the Pacific Crest Trail. And so it was just amazing to be able to be on a trail that, really finding the information out about it. I've heard of trails, all these kinds of things, but this trail that goes from North to South America is amazing. It's just, that's what this is, right? Is this?
Yeah, so it definitely goes, like, starts up in, I think, Alaska pretty much, and it kind of works all the way down through Mexico.
Yeah.
And was there anybody else walking the trail? I mean, there was other people at Deep Creek, but did you come across any other walkers in those 2 days while you were just on this trail?
Not really. No, not anybody hiking where we were. We were kind of, just out there by ourselves, just over at the hot springs. And then once we started walking on the trail and we got out there, there was nobody else hiking. Yeah.
So this episode right here basically takes us when we left Ed's house. We did a nice little, it started off nice and chill, went up to the pinnacles, up to the mountains, had a camp out. Everything was seeming pretty chill. And then we had some pretty serious decisions as far as, like, how to kind of split up, separate, and get to the next part. To make to do this Pacific Crest Trail, Deep Creek Hot Springs, and get to this little campground, Crab Flats. And for this part of the trip, we all kind of went to Pinnacles and we all had a nice little camp out, and that was fun. But then this next part, I kind of took my first van duty responsibilities and to try to get the van to Crab Flats. I was the only one I think that had really been to the Deep Creek Hot Springs before. And, so I know Jordan really wanted to do the Pacific Crest Trail. So I was kind of like, all right, I'll take the van responsibilities. And you guys kind of went off on the Pacific Crest Trail and did Deep Creek. So you have definitely a lot more perspective on that hike, how it went, how it then, shifted. And I guess we'll have to wait for, how it kind of really shifted for the next episode. Cause that's where then, next time we pop up on video is basically at the campground when you guys are coming back and hearing from you and hearing from Jono. And, we're basically still waiting for Jordan and Derek, and stuff like that. But, and in the meantime, while you're dealing with that, I got the van stuck in a river. I got the van, almost broken in half on a bunch of crazy cracks in the road of going up and down. Almost got stuck a bunch of times. It was a nightmare for the van, but it was also, you guys had your own experience. But let's talk about before, up to where it's, it just kind of starts raining, and John was kind of just like, yeah, when we got our weatherproof gear on, and the camera goes over to Jono, and he's just like,
he had on a cloth sweater.
Yeah, basically
a cotton sweater.
But what was up the feeling up of that? You were singing along the way, you got a little, it seemed like you guys were having fun out on the trail.
I mean, it was making the best of it. It was really beautiful. It was really nice. I'd never seen it. I'd never been on a trail like that. My dad. I think my dad's in.
Nice.
So the Pinnacles, that was those rocks. You were there for that, right? We all camped there. Yep. So that I remember. I'm thinking, like, in retrospect now, that camp, when we camped there, it was like on the rocks, like way up there, kind of on the rocks and stuff, right? Yeah. I remember being like, I've never done something like this, on these rocks. Like, and I mean, we had been camping and, doing a bunch of stuff, but just it started to get into some experiences where it was like, wow, this is new. This is cool. Like, I've never seen this place, these, and it's just like, that kept repeating after a while. But I remember being one of the first, like, wow, this is cool. And so after we camped on those rocks, I remember these days, we started the walk on this trail. And it was me, Jordan, Jono, and Derek. And Dragon. No, Dragon was with Dragon.
Yeah, Dragon. That was the thing, because after the dog chase, I think Dragon was done after that. I think he was like vanning it pretty much for the rest of the time. I don't know if he walked again after that.
Oh wow, yeah, it's crazy. Oh man, so that trail was long. It was weaving and winding this way and that way, and we were just following it, going. And we knew we had to get to this spot where, you can't get to it with a car. You have to hike, right?
Yeah, that was the thing. We didn't really know where we were going to be able to meet up again. So it was kind of, but it, and it looked like we could possibly get the van to this Crab Flat spot, but there was all kinds of washouts, and the road was gone in a bunch of places, and there was a couple little streams and rivers that me and Dragon drove through to get there. So we were in a panic because we wanted to make sure we got to the spot before you guys got there.
But that was, we all hit the turmoil at the same time because of the rain. Yeah. But before that, when I'm singing and we're doing all of that episode, it was sunny and the weather was beautiful and everything was great. And in the middle of that, like when we were on that trail, there's a bridge. There's a few bridges. I'm trying to think where the one Jordan says, "Can we pass? Is there a troll?" No, that was a different one. There was another bridge after that was going over a little river. And I remember that point. I think there's some footage of it. There was like this wheel, like a water wheel or something like that close to it. I don't know. We might have footage of it. But I remember kind of being like, I think I was running out of battery, and I was like, all right, yo, it's raining. It's starting to get bad. And there was a shot where you see Derek and Jordan are way back. And me and Jonathan, and it ends right there, right? At that point, it was like crucial because it was hailing. It was really cold. It was hailing. And we were like, Derek was had to stop. He had to take breaks. And Jordan was trying to stay with Derek. Me and Jonathan were getting. So after a while, we waited for Derek, and we got to this spot. It was like a clearing. It started to get dark. Now, we didn't all meet back together. So in my head, I was like, no, we got to get to the campsite. Like, we're not going to stop here. What do you mean? No. Like, I didn't bring my tent. I didn't bring all the stuff that I felt like I needed. I was like, no, we got to get to that stuff. I want to get to that stuff. And so I was determined, and this was a bad decision. Now that I think about it, I thought about it for years, but I was determined, and I was like, no, we're going to get to the campsite. Derek was like, I'm staying here. Jordan was like, I'm going to stay with Derek. Now, Jordan had the tent, and Derek had the sleeping bag and like some other cover of protective gear. And me and Jonathan had cloth blankets. Oh, man. Nothing to cover. And so we kept going. But it got colder. And, Jonathan's legs start to lock up. Mine did too. But I just was like, no, like we can't be that far from the campsite. Like, we got to keep going. It's got to be right there. Let's go. And we weren't really seeing signs for it either. Yeah. So we were just like, kind of, let's just keep following the trail. But we got to a point in the trail where it was dark. It was dark. Me and Jonathan were in denial about the darkness. Like, it's still kind of light, but it was dark. Yeah. And we're like, well, we're not going to go back to Jordan. And, we're not going to backtrack in the darkness. And then it's like, we can't really keep going. We were stuck for a minute, just like, what do we do? And we panicked, and we were panicked, man. We were tripping. And so we had this cloth blanket, and there was a rock. There was like a big boulder that was like sort of, had like a little cup kind of coverage on it, a little bit. And it was like, just rocks. And so it was like, yo, let's just huddle down under that. So we had this blanket covering us. It was soaking. The blanket was wet, soaking wet. We're like shivered, huddled up like this, like, yo, man. And we both broke at different times, He broke and was like, "Oh, this is bad. Like, we're not gonna make it. This is bad. This is all bad. He was tripping." And I was like, "No, we're good. We're good. We're gonna be fine. We're gonna make it, man. It's cool. We're all right. We'll be fine." And a little while later, it switched, and I was like, "Shh, I don't know, man. It's not gonna work. I don't know. We're not gonna make it." And he did the same thing, like, no, we're gonna make it, man. We're gonna be fine. We're gonna make it. I don't know how. Somehow we got a little bit of sleep.
You guys did then kind of like drift off for a little bit and slept for a little bit then?
I think we did, man. We slept for a little bit, but just enough to almost get hypothermia, man. Jonathan kind of had a little bit of that. Yeah. And I was still, once we woke up, it was like, let's go. Like, let's go. Come on, we're up. It's light, the sun, let's go.
All right, bro. Well, yeah, I'm gonna run for now, so I'm gonna stop this. And yeah, thanks for jumping on, and we'll catch up with you later on, bro.
Yes, sir. All right, bro.
All right, man. Peace.
Good one.
Yeah.
Peace.
There you have it. That's episode 5 in the rewind. Much love to Campaign for jumping on, sharing some insights of the walk. So great to catch up with him and hear a little bit more of some insights, some stuff that I hadn't even heard before. So it's always great to be able to talk about this stuff and do these deep dives. I hope you guys are enjoying these rewind episodes and hearing a little bit more about, you know, where our thought process was and what we were trying to get out of this walk adventure. As always, stay inspired, keep on walking, take it one step at a time. You're going to get there in the end. Stay inspired. Peace and love. We'll see you next week.